What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about Stripe. This is a pretty controversial subject. This is a very touchy subject for a lot of you guys. So please, all I ask is that you watch this video with an open mind and you don't comment until the very end. I know there's going to be a ton of people flocking to this video that have clicked on it only because they disagree and they want to go comment right away and tell me how wrong I am and how stupid I am and how trash I am. Just go into this video with an open mind, try to actually think about like what I'm saying instead of just thinking about how you can disprove it. And I just want to have a discussion about it. If you disagree, that's totally fine. You're free to disagree. It's an opinion at the end of the day. But I want to have an actual discussion about it and talk about why I think what I think instead of just having random people comment and tell me I'm trash because I think he's not OP. So yeah, let's get into it. First off, I want to talk about Stripe's gun because this is a very hot topic of Stripe. The gun specifically, a lot of people seem to think is what's like very OP. The vast majority of people think that this gun is OP. I wouldn't even say the vast majority. I would say probably like 70% of people think that this gun is OP. So let's actually break it down and talk about the gun and why I think that the gun is actually the most perfectly balanced part of his whole kit. It could maybe do with a slight nerf, maybe like -1 damage, but really the gun is not the problem of Stripe. Like if I were to try and see from a perspective of somebody that thinks Stripe is OP, the gun would not be the first thing that comes up. So let's break it down. The gun itself does 4 damage per bullet and each bullet has a 5-second cooldown. This means that if you use all 3 bullets, you'll have a 15-second cooldown and all 3 bullets will do 12 damage. This is 12 damage per 15 seconds, which is less than 1 damage per second of value. If you compare this to some other moves in the game, it's actually among the lower value numbers. Less than 1 damage per second of value is not something that's game-breakingly overpowered, especially when the move in combination with dealing very little damage has very little knockback. People seem to think that the gun is used as a knockout ability or that, you know, you hit someone off the edge, then you use all 3 bullets and it just sends them flying off the map, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Every single top Stripe will be using the gun as a combo extending tool and not a KO tool unless they're at like 150, 160, 170%. The second that you hit somebody and get the targeting buff on them, you shouldn't be laying all 3 shots into them because then you have a 15-second cooldown and you've gotten less than 1 damage per second of value out of that ability. The value for the ability does not come from dealing damage or dealing knockback or KOing. It comes from keeping them up in the air for a longer period of time so that you can touch the ground, reset your jumps, and they can't. This allows you to extend your combo on them and air juggle them for a very long period of time, which is a lot of what makes Stripe so good in the top lobbies. Right now, I'm currently top like 400 on Stripe. I haven't played him in like 12 hours. I ended off at like top 150 with him, but I've probably deranked a lot, probably around the 400 mark right now. Every Stripe that I've met in these higher lobbies uses the gun the same way that I've been using it, which is as a combo extending tool. I know I've said that a lot, but I need to reiterate this because people think that the gun is so overpowered. I'm trying to explain from my perspective why the gun is really not busted. It's strong, and I definitely think that Stripe is sitting at the top of A tier or arguably the bottom of S tier maybe, but if you compare him to some of the meta picks like Bugs, like Batman, like Finn, he just simply doesn't compete because he has an ability that gets 1 damage per second. Stripe is solid. He just doesn't compete with those characters, especially when you're trying to make the argument that his gun is the reason that he competes with them when his gun really just doesn't get that much value for the majority of players. If you cannot keep an air juggle going for a long period of time, Stripe is not your character and the gun is not your tool. People are wasting the gun and then going and complaining on Twitter because they get spammed by it. So now I've talked about the gun for a little while. I've broken it down. That's my thoughts on it. That's why I think that the gun is not overpowered. So I want to move on to the next ability, which is the chainsaw. This seems to be like the second most talked about ability from Stripe's kit. I actually really love the chainsaw ability. I think it's super cool, super creative, and it kind of reminds me of playing, this is going to sound stupid, it's very niche, but playing Dead by Daylight. If you play Dead by Daylight, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm a fan of the chainsaw ability. I think it's super cool. The chainsaw is not busted though, and I want to explain why. Stripe has no KO moves except for the chainsaw. That is his only KO move in his entire kit. You compare this to characters like Bugs, whereas Bugs has all of these different KO moves that he can use, just a plethora of attacks that he can use that will send you flying off the map at 120%. And you compare it to Stripe, who, if we want to test it out right now, I'll show you guys this one. Let me take Shaggy, who is a relatively heavy character, admittedly, but it's the training bot character. Let's just chainsaw him at 150%. It doesn't kill. Now I understand saying, oh, the chainsaw doesn't kill the training bot at 150. That means it's not OP. That's stupid. That's not my point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that people have this like idea of the chainsaw as being a super early KO tool and something that's going to be killing people at 80% if you connect it once from the middle of the stage. That's just not true. Stripe's entire playstyle is chipping away at the other person's health for a long period of time, basically the entire match, and then finally killing them at like 150, 160, 170%. Kind of similar to someone like Finn in a way, but I honestly think that Finn is better at early KOing than Stripe, but it's it's not just that the chainsaw doesn't have crazy knockback. It has good knockback. Like, I'm not saying that the chainsaw is weak or something. It is good, but it's his only KO move. He needs something in his kit that can KO. So having an ability that requires a character to be 160, 170% if you want to hit them from anywhere besides the edge of the map, and having that move KO does not seem overpowered to me, especially when you compare it to other moves like Batman's up punch that can kill at 120. If you full charge it, yes, but compare that charge time of Batman's up punch to the charge time of the chainsaw. It's very similar, I bet. The chainsaw has a long charge time where you're just sitting in midair and revving it up. It has a loud audio cue. It has a very obvious visual cue. And when those cues end, you go forward in the same predictable arc every single time. After you get hit by a chainsaw like twice, you start to realize, hey, when he's standing still in midair, revving his chainsaw, and I hear the loud buzzing in the ears, let me not go directly in front of him. It's not something that a Stripe can do in the middle of a combo because, like I said, it has a long charge time. So it has to be something that he's preemptively using to try and hit you. And you have more than enough time to react to the chainsaw and get out of the way. Dodge it, hit him while he's charging, throw a projectile to break him out of the charge. You can do so many things to counter the chainsaw. I don't want to say skill issue in this video, but if you are consistently getting hit by the chainsaw several times a match, repeatedly, over and over, it is a skill issue. You need to work on your positioning and you need to work on your overcommitments. Because if you're overcommitting that hard that a Stripe is able to chainsaw you several times in a single match, you got problems. And the problems are not the chainsaw's balance. That's the only time I'll mention a skill issue situation, because it really is a skill issue situation. Next up, I want to talk about the light attacks, because this is the third thing that I've been seeing a lot of people complain about, is that the light attacks are OP, the light attacks are too much damage, light attacks are too much knockback, they're too fast, so whatever. Stripe's entire light attack combo, if you hit every single move consecutively, which isn't too hard, it's a combo, it does 13 damage. Compare this to Finn's entire light attack combo, that does 12 damage. Batman's entire light attack combo, which actually ends in an uppercut that sends you up in the air, so it's better than Stripe's, that also does 12. Morty's entire light attack combo, which ends in a hammer that does more knockback than Stripe's ending move, that does 12 damage. And those are just some other characters that kind of fit in the Stripe same archetype. If you want to even go a step further, Harley's light attack combo does 17 damage, Superman's light attack combo does 18 damage, and those stats, you can go test them out in the range. Like, those are real numbers. That's not an opinion-based thing. That is the actual statistics of what the combos do. So for people to say that Stripe's light attack combo is ridiculously overtuned and it's so busted when it's the exact same as every other light attack combo in the game is just kind of confusing to me. And getting kind of upset about light attack combos in general is weird to me, because basically every character has the same light attack combo. It's a combination of a bunch of quick light moves that come out fast, combo into each other, and then leave you dealing 12 to 13 damage. It's pretty standard. Like, every character has the same light attack combo when you really break it down. They just have different animations to match their character. So this one really confuses me. I can see people kind of making an argument for like chainsaw or gun, because that's like something that's unique to Stripe, but the light attack combo that's copy and paste Finn's light attack combo, Batman's light attack combo, Morty's light attack combo, that one's confusing me because it doesn't stand out from any of the characters. Stripe's light attack combo is just the same. It's just more of the same. So yeah, that one was confusing me. If somebody can leave a comment and let me know why they think the light attack combo is overpowered, I'd be happy to talk about it, as long as you're like commenting in a respectful way. Like, I need to reiterate, this video is not meant to be like a hating video. This video is not meant to be toxic. This video isn't meant to like call anybody bad at the game or something. I'm just simply sharing my opinion about a game that I love, and I hope that everybody else can do the same. And then the last move that I want to talk about, which is the last move I've seen people complaining about a lot, is the buzz saws. That's what you call him, which is his, what is it, his neutral ability? I don't know. I have different binds, so it's my right trigger, but you know what the buzz saw is. The buzz saw is interesting. What's the cooldown on it? I'm pretty sure it's 8 seconds. The buzz saw has an 8-second cooldown, which means if you throw all 3 of them, you'll have a 24-second cooldown before you get all 3 of them back. That is very long. 24 seconds is a long time in a game like MultiVersus. So much can happen in 24 seconds. Most games in their entirety are like 3 minutes. So spending a sixth of the game just regenerating the attacks that you've used is like a lot. Now, the buzz saws are solid right now. I actually think that the saws could use a bit of a rework. This is something that I'm more inclined to agree with people on, saying that it's like OP or something, even though I don't think it's OP, but I do think it needs to be reworked. The saws, in my opinion, should be used for map control rather than an attacking move. How I personally use the saws, and how I've seen a lot of other top level Stripes using the saws, is that they throw them on the platforms if it's a map that has platforms. For example, the one that has like the 3 platforms like this, and then the Rick and Morty map that has the platform in the middle. Those are the 2 strongest maps for Stripe, in my opinion, because you can put the buzzsaws on those platforms and they'll just circle the platform for a while before they disappear. But if you compare this to something like Harley's map control with the box that she places, Harley's is objectively just better. It lasts so much longer, and it completely blocks off an entire area where they just can't approach you from. Compare it even to something like Morty's map control, if you wanted to get a little bit more specific and do a different example than something that you'd place. Morty's grenades are better map control than Stripe's buzzsaws. If you throw a Morty grenade on the ground, the opponent can't approach that area out of fear of being shot. And even if they don't approach that area, you can still shoot the grenade and then your shot will ricochet off and keep going. So Morty's gun and grenade is literally just better map control than Stripe's buzzsaws. And the gun and grenade have a better cooldown than the 8 seconds on the buzzsaws. I think the buzzsaws are super cool. I love the ability. The rework that I think should be be implemented is that you make them do less damage, but make them last longer when they're on the platform so that they're more used for map control rather than an attacking move. I think it's weird that you have this buzzsaw ability that circles objects and like 80% of players just use them to throw at the other person randomly. I wish that you were more like kind of encouraged as the Stripe player to use those buzzsaws on platforms for map control rather than just using them as another attack. But I still don't think the saws are OP even as they are right now. And then one like kind of overall thing that I wanted to talk about is that Stripe in general is not an early KO character, which is the most frustrating archetype of characters in the game in a lot of people's opinions. Me personally, I think rushdown characters are a little bit more annoying, and Stripe is definitely a rushdown character, so I would be more inclined to think that Stripe is more annoying than someone like Superman that had early KO moves. But anyway, Stripe really can't KO early at all. He's a character that, like I mentioned earlier, has to whittle down your health for the entire match before he can even think about starting to initiate a KO combo. The thing is, if you get stuck in like a 20 hit combo, 25 hit combo where you're juggled the whole time, I understand that it can be frustrating because you feel like you have no counterplay, but if somebody lands a 20 hit combo on me and I can't even touch the ground during that combo, they deserve the win in my eyes. If somebody manages to keep me in the air for 20 hits straight, that's a great combo. They won. I don't go and say, oh, this character is OP because they didn't even let me touch the ground for 20 seconds. I say, oh, this character is great and the person that played them is great with them. I feel like the entire MultiVersus community is a bit inclined to lose to somebody a lot, and because they lose to somebody a lot, they just say that that character is OP. I know a lot of you are gonna be like, oh, this is ironic coming from Slush because he said that Batman's OP. Yes, I thought Batman was OP, and that was for different reasons than the fact that I lost to him. I actually didn't have that low of a win rate against Batman. I think it was like 40% or something. So yeah, it was lower than usual, right? I want my win rate for characters to be somewhere between like 60, 70, 80%. So 40 is low, but I'm talking about people that have like a 10% win rate to Stripe right now because he literally came out 3 days ago. Like, it's another thing you guys have to just keep in mind. Stripe is so new. People haven't figured out how to counter him, how to play against him, the best perks to run against him. When the game came out, people thought Rain Dog was going to be insane. I heard so many people complaining about Rain Dog, and then like 2 weeks later, everybody thought he was trash, and he's been trash ever since. Just give it some time before we start calling characters super OP. And in a similar light, me calling Stripe balanced is also kind of irrelevant because in 2 weeks from now, this could be an entirely different conversation that we're having. That's a breakdown. I don't want this video getting too long. I've been recording for 15 minutes. I don't know what it'll be cut up by my editor, but I don't want it to be too long. I just kind of want to talk about the different moves that I've seen like on Twitter, on YouTube comments that people say are OP, and why, as somebody with a lot of experience with Stripe, I think that Stripe's abilities are not OP. He's definitely sitting high A tier, low S tier. Like I said, in no means do I think Stripe is bad or that he needs buffs. In fact, I think he could use some small nerfs. As long as the nerfs are like small, I think that would be fine, and it would actually be a benefit because people would stop like hating on Stripe almost. I don't want Stripe to become a character that the community views super negatively, similar to someone like Harley or someone like Bugs, who are both viewed negatively for good reasons, and it's because the devs just kind of ignored them in their broken stages for far too long. I'm actually kind of hoping that Stripe receives some small nerfs so that I can continue to win with him, and then people won't have like this excuse of saying he's OP. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Stripe. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Let's try to have an actual conversation about it instead of just like saying random insults. That's all I ask. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.